Hello, hi, and welcome back to Of the Devil, episode 0. It's what, almost a month later now? Yeah, this is the supplementary video that I had promised to do once we finished the main storyline on stream. Life explodes at you sometimes. Then you end up real busy and not being able to get to the things that you wanted to do. But I guess the important thing is that we're finally getting around to it. We are back in Of the Devil Land, and if you haven't, either go watch that original episode, it should be down there in the video somewhere, or you can go to Steam or itch.io and play Of the Devil episode 0 yourself, which I think would be pretty rad. More people should play it. This is a real fun game. It's got a really cool premise, so there's going to probably be a lot of spoilers in the content that we're about to have a look at. Like I said, we are going to be looking at the bonus content that this game has, seeing what all the deal is with that. Rather than going into the bonuses menu, I'm going to go ahead and continue because this seems to carry over some things that I needed to be carried over. All right, so here we are. We've got a concept gallery and bonus scenarios, but we've also got something over here. You notice we got our chips while playing the game. Profiling. What is this? Trying to get your dating profile just right so it can be a full-time job. Let Valentine take to the reign with our automated, secure, and confidential tools that put your better than best foot forward and put the sexy back into finding the right match. Somehow I don't think that's what we were looking for, but again, I really like what this game's doing with its in-world stuff and kind of this dystopian world that we're really kind of cruising toward. In real life, this whole all advertisements all the time life that we're looking at. But something that we could not access during the game is the store, which is where we can spend our chips, which I have to imagine they lock this out because you need these to unlock the better deductions during your arguments so that you can earn more. Again, I don't know that I think that that's the best system for a narrative game. And it can be easily save scummed, which I wouldn't want them to take that out. But I don't know that I like this currency system. It's not my favorite thing. I think that maybe it should just be tied to the store and that you could access the store at all times. But they can't let you do that while you're playing the main story because then you would run yourself out. But maybe they could implement a system later down the line, or hopefully they implement it where, it just keeps track of the highest number that you've had. That way you still got access to the narrative options that you want to. But we can go in here and basically we can trick out our phone. We can get a Morgan time charm. So I'm absolutely buying that. And where do we use these? I have no idea where to use these. Is it in here? Phone opacity? No? Oh, no, it's just... Oh, that's real bad. It's kind of behind... I couldn't even see that. That's not... I feel like I would put that on the front layer. You can see I've got a Morgan charm, but I feel like I would layer that in front. I feel like that doesn't read well. I couldn't see that. We got a Fran charm. Fran's cool. I bet Fran's awesome. She is the troublesome teenager that we were running into. Fidgetubby charm. We got 2 of those. Yeah, again, I think that this is something that would look cuter if it dangled on the front of the screen, even if it wouldn't make much sense. I just don't think that it looks great back there. And Charmless is free, but we're going back to Morgantown. And then we can have a black phone case, which I'm not sure. Magenta phone case. There we go. Got a red I'm pretty sure I can buy like all of these. Yeah. Teal and a black phone case. Okay, so we're gonna go with magenta because it's kind of close to purple. So yeah, you can play around with your coins like that, and that's one thing that you can do. So we're gonna hop into the bonus scenarios. We're gonna be looking at these. These are also unlocked, I assume, with how many, actually, in fact, I think that's exactly what happened, is that these unlocked with the number of chips we had, which this is fine. Like, I think that if you want to use it to unlock stuff like this, I think that's fine, but using it to unlock stuff while you're actively playing the game just didn't feel good to me, I don't think. I didn't miss any of them, and the thresholds for all of them seemed pretty small, but again, just belaboring a point here that I've labored enough. All right, what is the London interview? You want to interview me? It's very flattering, but aren't there more lively folks around here for you to question? I had considered that, so I'm not your first choice. You are the first one who hasn't walked away. Come to think of it, I should probably... So what are your 3 sizes? Have you been opening with that? Should I not? Do you have any pets? Afraid not. Need 1 or 2 though. Or 3 promotions to afford that kind of thing. Are pets that expensive? Only if you care about them. Maybe if I found a place closer to the park. Have you ever owned any automated dependents? Not had the chance. Would you own one if you could? Maybe one of the little vacuum ones. Anything more complicated than that is... If you find the owner's manuals intimidating, there are video-based tutorials I can show you. I'm not worried about the ease of use, don't worry. When I say complicated, I mean... It's like what I said about pets. Fine to leave a goldfish in a tiny bowl. Time it takes to swim half a lap, it'll have forgotten what the first half looks like. Not a very tall hierarchy of needs there, easy to please. But a cat? A dog? I don't want to be at work thinking about how bored they are sitting at home, and today's ads are a lot smarter than dogs about most things. That's a very thoughtful perspective, Detective London. It's a moot point anyway. I'd need to get hit by a city bus to afford any of the new stuff Noble's selling. No, you're thinking of the sheltered generation. Okay, so we're just kind of like jumping around in this little interview. I don't know who the interviewee is, or who the interviewer is. Sheltered as in sheltered upbringing, or shelter in place. There was a lot of uncertainty during their childhood, so when they grew up, they wanted surety, safety, stability. Wanted to know that their next heat would stay on in the winter. And their politics reflected that. But that was all before my time. My generation is a little more, well, Generation Zen. That's what they called us in their think pieces. Even-tempered, mentally strong, and more a little cynical. You disagree? It wasn't a matter of mindfulness. We just grew up without false expectations. Our vision wasn't clouded with illusions and impossibilities like home ownership. Jesus Christ, stop! Stop! You can't attack me like this! Or retire. Oh, God. Oh. We realized early on that we'd be working right up until we... Detective? Unrealistic expectations. Some people call that hope. To see your friends, your classmates, drowning every day in that kind of mire. And then have to listen to the people 3 times your age go on about how enlightened today's youth are. Gen Zen. It's not a name I'd particularly fond of. So how long have you been in law enforcement? Too long? And how long have you been with the homicide department? Not that long by comparison. Sorry, don't mean to be overly vague. If you really want to know, I spent the bulk of my career over in arson. Was it different from homicide? Flashier, I'd say. Everyone jokes that homicides solve themselves in a city with this many cameras. Meanwhile, fraud and disinfo are so entrenched in a tech arms race, they barely come up for air. But arson really hasn't changed that much in the modern era. Fire's still very good at destroying evidence. You can't expect the drone net to sweep into burnt rubble and bring you back out the culprit's fingerprints and driver's license. It's a lot of legwork, a lot of interviewing. And since more than half of the culprits we caught were burners helping Megs commit insurance fraud, we spent a lot of time making friends and enemies in high-rise corporate boardrooms. Megs. Just slang for mega corporations, which is also just slang. At what size does a corporation become mega? It's not really about gross revenue or how many countries you operate in. If you're big enough to crush people, you're a meg. An apex predator among apex predators. Like the Otodus Megadolon of the Microcene epoch. Hey, wait, is that where that comes from? So why are you working in the homicide department? What's that? Why'd you leave arson? The smoke. I just got to a point where I couldn't stand the smell. I mean, that makes sense. Okay, so these are just gonna be cute little tidbits on characters, which is good because we didn't get a lot of backstory on characters kind of getting introduced. This thing already had to do a whole lot of setup to get to the point, which I felt did kind of make the main story bog a little bit. But I mean, you've got to do that setup, and I imagine that kind of stuff is going to be paced out a lot better in further episodes. The Reyes interview. Oh, this little ball of sunshine. This should be a load of fun. Okay, you can start now that my desktop's censored. So, for the record, your full name is Farah Reyes. And how's that pronounced? Like how I just said it? Farah Reyes. Hey, I got it right! I've been saying it like that the whole time, so I just wanted to be sure. I was waiting for this game at some point to, like, prove me wrong or that I was being a dip. But nope, I got it. Thank you. Your birthday is October 19th. And how do you take your coffee? She makes you fetch the coffee? Figures. Wait, let me guess. Counselor Morgan takes her coffee black, no, decaf, like a real psychopath. Decaf, yes. Sometimes with milk. Nice. That's even worse. And you, detective? With 2 sugars and a bottle of water. Now that I've got this. You mean your eye? When did you have it modded? After I learned that I was getting promoted to detective, and before I realized I was getting promoted to homicide. Do you regret it? No. Would have wanted it for work eventually. If it takes me a while longer to pay off than I expected, well, I'm hardly the only person my age walking around with their debts socketed into them. I see. What are your likes? My likes? Pretty broad ask, don't you think? Well, in that case, perhaps you'd find it easier to describe your dislikes. Like, we're gonna be here a while. Small plates. Oh. I hate dinner by the 1,000 cuts shit. I see. And I dislike cheap people. And liars. And lawyers. Lawyers? They're smug, prideful. They bill by the minute, greed personified. Like their time is so goddamn important. And they're annoying and pale and smug. Should I put down smug twice? I like her. So what do you like, detective? Do you have hobbies, areas of interest? Well, automotive history, maybe. Oh, well, could you say more about that? I guess I could talk about it a little bit. The following section has been altered from its original format. It has been edited for time. Aqua, that's supposed to be a luxury version of a pickup truck, as there's a market for that. It's so stupid. I love it, and purplish, bluish, chromish color. The copyright was so intense that just mixing the paint was illegal for Naturally aspirated. Can you imagine? I see. Do you own a car yourself? No, she doesn't. I'll guarantee she doesn't. You're joking, right? I'd rather eat asphalt than buy an EV with my hard-earned money. The following section has also been altered from its original format. It has been edited for time. Strong language. 4 motors and a computer chip? That's not engineering. That's barely even programming. And as if acceleration was all that mattered. Any race longer than 2 seconds and simulated engine noise, anything, and their right mind. I believe that fills out your dislike section. So, what is your favorite drink? Dark and Stormy is pretty good. How do you make that? Ginger beer, rum, and a lot of lime juice. You putting together a recipe book or something? Who is your hero? Well, that one's easy. Detective Kasim London, of course. Oh. Should I relay your sentiments to him? I'm sure he'd love to hear them. Somehow I doubt that you'd get the tone right. Very well. In that case, what are your 3 sizes? My what? The measurements for your bust, waist, and... I'm not telling you that. Where the hell are you getting these questions from? I designed my interview process to extract all the same kinds of facts that are most commonly listed online. On what websites? Open source, collaborative, community-focused databases? You mean like Wiki? Would you prefer to skip this question? Tell you what. If you can find a single person who does answer that question, I'll give you mine down to the millimeter. Far Reyes, red 1, playback complete. Okay, now I'm wondering, like, if somebody actually coughs up their information in one of these interviews, that, like, if you go back, but I doubt that's the case since these are supposed to be videos. Carlos. So this is like an offboarding thing, an exit interview? Yeah, it's like that. Oh. Well, that's sweet of Morgan, still worrying about me. Yeah. Yeah, bud, she's so worried. How'd she know I'd be here? She didn't. Why are you here? Oh, hoping to get back some of my stuff that police collected as evidence. Don't tell Morgan that, by the way. Is there something embarrassing among what they seized? No, it's just, I'm guessing as my lawyer, is she still my lawyer? Well, as a lawyer, she'd probably know the exact right form to get this stuff back, but it's okay, I wanted to do this myself. Why is that? Conquering my fears, maybe. Last time I came here, I was dragged in, strong-armed. Everything was going so fast, I barely spoke. I didn't stand up for myself. If I'd been able to stop and think things through clearly, well, I could never have done what Morgan did, but maybe I wouldn't have gotten myself dug in so deep. It must have been very upsetting being accused of something so terrible. I'm sure you reacted just as well as anyone could be expected to. Thanks. I think. My arm? No, it's not back yet. At this point, I might be better off getting an upgrade rather than waiting for my current model to get fixed. Is that allowed? Yeah, it is. Can't downgrade, can't trade in, can't opt out. But Hindi will let me upgrade anytime. Do you ever regret it? Getting modded? Sometimes. But I have a lot of regrets. Compared to some of them, buyer's remorse is... Well, how do you deal with your buyer's remorse? Lately? Well, lately I've been laying face down on the floor and exhaling. Just for 30 seconds. I count to 30. And you feel better afterward? Yeah. Some real Napstablook vibes from this guy in his off time. Not that I don't blame him. This guy's been through a bit. I mean, I've seen the protests, but there's a lot of pains. Being a modder, makes sense that people would have loud opinions, want them heard. But we all made a choice. We all signed the papers. I guess that's just it, huh? Not all of us made the choice ourselves. I got modded to help my career. Didn't need to get modded just in order to have one. but a lot of people did and do. There was this guy, worked with us for 1 quarter. Probably a vet, definitely didn't want to talk about it, so none of us asked. Good coworker, very gung-ho, cheery in a muscle head kind of way. It's a physical job, so there's no slouches, but he wasn't just fit, he was cut and handsome. And so when he kept showing up to work with more and more mods, all of them cosmetic, I didn't get it. What's he missing? What's a guy like that want to change about himself? He got offered full-time at the end of the contract, but he said he needed something that paid better. Turns out he'd blown every paycheck at elective surgeons. Pal of mine in HR said he'd given his insurance info to 6 different clinics in 4 weeks. Word is, he wasn't even using the pain pills. Sold them to some of the drivers for extra cash. That's the worst I've ever seen it. Grafting runaway or plastophilia or whatever they're calling it now. But it's not the only time I've seen it. It's not like there's no incentive for it. Because there are plenty of megs out there that see people hurting like that and think, there's an ideal worker. So you work for Morgan? And wow, lawyers must make a lot more money than I realize. Wait, are you here to give me the bill? How much do I owe? You don't owe her anything. Her services were paid for by the state. And I happen to be forbidden from handling any kind of financials, due to an ongoing dispute about what constitutes essential office supplies. I hear you. Diane was always the money smart one. Pretty strict, actually. Unless you saw a fidget tubby on the shelf. You could see her eyes light up. You could hear her huffing like she'd just won the lottery. They're ugly cute, babe. And I would say, well, you're cute, babe. Oh, look at you, Mr. Smooth Pants over here. Believe it or not, she thought it was pretty suave. Right, and Morgan. Best for last. We're not getting one on Emma. Doesn't look like anyway. This is bound to be real good. You're gonna interview me here? You did say I need to practice asking better questions. But right now? Well, because you said the police would be making us wait so they feel more important for the next 20 minutes. Is there some more productive way we could spend that time? I was planning on napping. For 20 minutes? In the lobby of the police precinct? In the lobby of the police precinct? I can fall asleep anywhere. It's one of my many hidden talents. You're gonna write all this down? Well, could you start with your name for the record, Morgan? And your first name? You should know by now that no one calls me by my first name. Well, that's something you have control over. I wouldn't want to force the issue. How long has that been the case? As long as I care to remember. Then what did your parents call you? The tumor. That was a joke. Maybe we should have started you off with someone a little more your speed. Who better to start with than you? Someone who likes talking about themselves. You seem to talk about yourself as much as anyone else does. Or more. I tell people things about myself. It's different. Because you're lying? Now you're getting it. It's not very polite to lie. On the contrary, telling the truth is usually rude. I'm not sure that your clients would appreciate that sentiment. We're not talking about my clients, we're talking about manners. We were supposed to be talking about you. Look, the sooner you learn this, the better. When people ask how you are or what you've been up to, they're not looking for anything nearly as heavy as the truth. They're just following the template, and the polite thing to do is for you to follow the template as well. Here, let's practice. Hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you. Way too late. The whole point is to be on autopilot. Now you force them to grab the wheel, check their mirrors, and no one's ever grateful for the extra workload. You can be very cynical about these kinds of things at times. I'm just trying to teach. I'm just trying to tell you that people are fundamentally lazy. So if you want to be a social butterfly like me, try not to make them work too hard. Fundamentally lazy? Do you think people are fundamentally good, too? Who's texting me? Nothing important. Do you think people are fundamentally good, too? Obviously. If they weren't, they wouldn't be so easy to trick. So are you planning on answering any of the questions about yourself? I still got time to kill. Fire away. Will you be honest? I wouldn't want to be rude. When is your birthday? Wait, you're not trying to guess my passwords, are you? I would never commit identity fraud. Not the worst way of going about it, actually. December 26th. The 26th. That's almost Christmas. But almost Christmas. Barry, I was waiting. I knew they were gonna try and jump on that. I had a feeling. Can deny that that's not what they were going for there, but I'm pretty sure they were going for the joke. Means that, yeah, they were absolutely going for almost Christmas. Phoenix right. Your insights are always so original. Did you receive your presents on your birthday or on Christmas? What do you mean? Did you not celebrate Christmas in your family? We did. So did your parents give you presents on the 25th or the 26th? Well, I got Christmas presents on Christmas, and I got birthday presents on my birthday. Obviously. That's not how it goes for every friend I know that has a birthday within proximity of Christmas. They've literally, if they are, within 10 days of Christmas, it's just nope, you're getting one thing for both. Or you're getting it all packed into one. You ain't doing this 2 days shit. Friend of mine is literally born on Christmas Day. He never knew the joy of having a Christmas and a birthday be, a decent amount apart to where this is an occasion where we can get you an extra present. Poor guy. Are all your questions going to be this strange? What is your favorite color? Are all of your questions going to be this juvenile? If you prefer something weightier, do you volunteer? No. Do you donate? Yes. What causes do you donate toward? Endangered wildlife. What's with that face? It's on auto renewal. I just haven't canceled it yet. You've mentioned a mentor figure before. No way have I ever called her a mentor. A busybody, maybe. World record holder for billable hours spent under the influence, perhaps. Or just, cougar from hell. If she had rubbed off on me in any way, I'd have hives. I see. Is she a smoker? Lastly, do you know your three... Oh, interesting. We're skipping that, huh? Clever. I get it. I understand. Lastly, do you know your 3 sizes? I do. Would you tell me? That's private. You value your privacy very highly, don't you? More like everyone else doesn't value it enough. Water's rising, the world's getting smaller, literally. Less real estate to go around. And everything's connected to everything else. These days, just wanting some time or space to yourself is considered selfish or worse. Only the guilty have something to hide. I don't like that phrase. Laws like the MOB Act have made it so anonymity and privacy are luxuries. Privileges reserved for the privileged. Do we get? I was wondering if we got more, Is the mob? I don't think mob. Yeah, I was wondering if they were gonna add more privileges reserved for the privileged. And if anyone below the tax bracket tries to claw away a little bit of it for themselves, well, it can only be because they're guilty, right? Is that why you became a criminal defense attorney? To defend people's innocence? That's private. Man, that's gonna be it. Alright. Well, that was cool. We got a little more insights on all of the characters, which I'm always a big fan of. You know, like tips in Higurashi, or like the phone stuff that you can do in Steins Gate. I always love stuff like that. So that's interesting, cool stuff. But now we'll go ahead and look at the concept gallery. We might as well. Don't know that I can say much here as I'm not an artist, but we can at least look at all the cool stuff together. I like this diagram up here that shows how does that hair work, because that was one of the first things I thought when I first saw this design. I also wish that they would have stuck with the skirt design for Morgan, because I think skirts are better. But I'm not opposed to the suit and the very nice boots look. We can hide the UI with spacebar. There we go. I like this, you have very, very powerful look here, and they kind of like round it out a little in the final design. This is maybe a little too soft for the character we're dealing with. This is maybe a little too, not masculine, but like angular, maybe like kind of gives away the intent a little more than they intend. This is like a really good balance between this and this. So yeah, they kind of like got her rounded out and angular in like the perfect ways. I would just, you know, Debs, hear me out. Can we get an alternate costume with the skirt? Just for Polly. You could even say it's just for me. Okay. This London doesn't look like he changed much throughout the creation. Looks like he's just pretty close to what they were going for. They kind of had that idea really dialed in. Reyes. I think she's kind of mostly similar throughout like I think she's like a little more prickly in the final design. A little more prickly than they than these designs imply. I do like what they did with the hair. I do like that they went with, you know, like a multicolor to the hair. I think that just kind of makes her design pop a little more. Oh, some more. Here we go. It's kind of like more honed in. Yeah. Definitely. I think that these all worked out pretty well, from start to finish. Solid. Carlos, he's over here having a bad one. Well, he looked like a big chunky boy when he started out. He kind of like didn't really get gangly, but they kind of like pulled it back a little bit. Very cool. Emma! Oh my God, look at this. Look at this. This design is on fleek. It's got so much riz. I like this like kind of like homebody, busybody kind of look here with the long skirt. I actually kind of like that. I think that's a cool look. For what we know that her character is gonna be in the final game, it kind of like, I kind of feel like they injected a little bit of goth into her, but I feel like it's kind of more to represent her kind of just being tired. But it kind of has a kind of a gothy, a little bit of a feel to me. Some cool concepts for some shots and how they're gonna look in game. CG drafts, it's cool stuff. Oh, neat. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, this was a really good shot. Like when she popped in with like Morgan was kind of like giving her little anime villain speech. I definitely dig that. Again, another CG draft. I like this as well. This was a really good shot. Like you can just see the verses pop up there between the two of them. This is the heart fake killer. Oh, this is the shit. Look at this. That's such a good design. Ah, this is adorable. It's a cool design for Heartbreak, but I like this. This is really cool. It's really cute. and Android, who I'm assuming was doing the interviews. That's all I can assume right now, is that that's who was doing the interviews. I guess Android does not have a name. If Morgan is in charge of naming this android, I would not put it past her to name Android. So. All right. I do believe then that that's like everything. So I'll hop on back to the title screen here, and that will wrap things up for now. We will see each other once again for more of the Devil when more of the Devil releases, which I do believe is going to be sometime this summer for episode 1. So that's going to be cool. I'll probably be streaming that shortly after it comes out. And then just depending on how long that takes me and how like the extra content is handled, maybe just do another supplementary video. Don't know. I do know that the episodes that come after this one are going to be way longer, so it will probably take more than one stream to handle each case from here on. And I don't even know if there's like a courtroom element to this series or not, because we didn't even get to the courtroom. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this goes. But this is a game I'm very excited about. I really like what they're doing here. I think that they've got such a great concept. It's going to be a real fun cat and mouse game, seeing how Morgan is going to work her way through all this. And like, I'm very, very excited. Very, very excited. So I guess with all that, of course, thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you have a nice rest of your whatever, and I hope to catch you next time we're together.